All right. So, Trav, this is one of those moments of, when someone does something that you told them not to, and you always question whether or not you should say, I told you so. This is a 100% I told you so moment to Joey.
Yes, it is.
Don't buy that thing. Just rent it. Welcome back, everybody. We're going to share with you the details to our passive income report, the thing that we have started sharing going all the way back to 2020. And if you followed along with us, you know that Joey and I are agnostic when it comes to the investments that we make. We tend to invest in things that we enjoy, that we like. This is based upon our own personal investor DNA. If you don't know what investor DNA is, you have an opportunity. You go to wealthwithoutwallstreet.com/free call, and our team can help you understand what your investor DNA is. What are the things that can match up with who you are that can help you start becoming financially free? Stallion, welcome. We're looking at December's passive income report. What sticks out to you about December?
Well, I think it's more of the same in my mind. The land business is, I would say this, it took a little bit of a step back in December because we had some things either pay off or default, which is unfortunately part of the business, right? That's how that business works. It's a note business that over time, and by the way, if you're not familiar with it, go to thelandgeek.com and learn more about the business model in general, because it will tell you exactly how to take a piece of raw land, turn it around into an owner financing note at a sometimes 300% markup, and turn that into a monthly cash flow for the next 3 to 10 years, depending on the piece of property. But in this case, you can see it took a little, like a 2.4% backward step. And again, that just happens because some people stop paying and you get the property back, or they paid it off and now that note is no longer there. So I always like to highlight the land business because it's my favorite thing that we've done. Outside of that, what's the big thing for you?
Well, first of all, I want to just say, what is $50,000 a month doing in passive income for us? What was the big why behind that? Because ultimately, if you haven't figured out what your why is, these things won't matter and you won't pursue it at the level. So for Joey and I, pursuing passive income meant getting out of the driver's seat of active income, being able to spend way more time traveling and doing stuff with our family, investing in our family, investing with our family, right? You hear us talking about on the show how we have our daughters involved in things from land flipping to content websites to vending machines, right? And even in the past, short-term rentals. They've done a little bit of everything, and it's only because of the ability to create passive income. So this is why we do this every single month, is how do we build more freedom for ourselves? If you don't have that, I'm going to give another plug. Go to wealthwithoutwallstreet.com/free call, and our coaches can talk to you about exactly what that process looks like. How do you build this thing called a passive income operating system, which is what automates active income into passive income? It's what's allowed us to produce over $50,000 a month in passive income on a consistent basis.
If you've listened to our show for any length of time, you've heard us talk about infinite banking and how we were able to use that concept to create over $50,000 a month in passive income. But it's just not that easy to figure out, how does this all connect into my own personal system?
Stallion, that's why we created the passive income operating system, bro. It shows you how to turn active income into passive income. It makes all the steps come together. If you would like to get access to it as a podcast listener, we've never given this away in public before. Go to wealthwithoutwallstreet.com/PIOS.
So what sticks out to me, Joey? What sticks out to me is in the month of December, we brought in $50,625.35. Don't forget 35 cents, bro.
Pick up those pennies, bro, for sure. Now, a couple of things I also want to point out. This is kind of one of those things we've talked about in the past, but we made an equity investment into a candle company years ago, stackcandles.com. If you're not familiar with it, you need to go and buy one for your mom and them, whoever you got a special present to. It's a very thoughtful gift, stackcandles.com. And this is one of those things that had a slow start because it was an operating business that had really declined, that our friend, who is a great operator, bought and has had to kind of revamp some things, but it had a great brand and he had an existing candle company. So he was able to kind of combine efforts, and for a long time didn't get a lot of money back. Then we started getting like $300 a month back. Then it was $600. This month it was $1,200 against that original $30,000 that we invested. I like this because this is a picture of what's to come, is that those dividends or those returns are going to continue to increase as this business continues to increase. And so that gets me kind of excited.
Well, here's a kind of a what or how behind the scenes of that is one of the most successful things you can do is buy existing cash flowing businesses.
Right.
Starting a business is super hard, right? Like only a percentage of businesses that you start ever make it. So if you're trying to get into the investment space and you're trying to do something for the very first time that's never been done, you might have success. Most likely you will not, right? The odds are stacked against you, if you will. But yet buying existing cash flowing businesses that you can then add into what you're already doing or add additional layers of operating capacity can enhance it. So this is a business that was purchased, that was already operating. We provided some management and also some operational capital to the business. By doing that, we got a piece of the equity. We get distributions. So there's lots of businesses out there, service-based businesses, product businesses, businesses that are trading on e-commerce that you could go out and evaluate, hey, what would this look like if I purchased it? Who would be the operational team? How much capital is needed for it to run? What is it that I could do to enhance its value and have a very clean, objective, I put in X, it produces Y result for us. So for Joey,
Right.
what you were saying, we put in $30K, it spit out $1,200 just in the month of December. And in the second, we're going to talk about exactly how much it spit out every single year because we started tracking that.
That's right. Another big kind of win, I think, is the oil and gas space. You know, we bought into a fund that was investing in oil and gas. And man, this year we're going to talk about the whole year, but in the month of December, it kicked us back $3,759. And it's done that multiple times. It's a quarterly payout. And that to me is a big win because a lot of the other syndications haven't quite produced anywhere near what that oil and gas has. So that was something that stuck out to me. What else?
Yeah. Well, one I would say is that when you're investing in syndications, specifically in the oil and gas space, tread lightly. Like beware,
Yep.
Buyer beware.
For sure.
It is a lot of swing and misses in that space. It is one of those areas where we have had not so much success in the past. And in this area, it's working. I can, I'm grateful for it. We invested in it because it has a big opportunity. Where does this fit in the kind of hierarchy of investing for people? This should be the last investment you invest in. Just hear me say that. This is at the most speculative area, that in our Bitcoin mining fund. Those are speculative, right? Like if you just bought Trump's new Trump coin or whatever, like please say that wasn't your first dollar. That should be the last dollar. You should have invested in all of these other things prior to doing something like that. I put the oil and gas investment in that category. Highly speculative, right? With that, there is a risk-adjusted rate of return. We're looking at a risk-adjusted rate of return around 18% for the year. That's pretty good. But also at the same time, this thing could go to zero tomorrow. You compare that to like a private loan investment that we've done where, we put in $100,000 and it's been kicking off $2,100 every single month. And we'll continue to do that. It's backed by the corporation. We have another private loan out there that we've done that's paying us almost $2,000 a month as well. Like the private loan space, when you have it backed up, it's consistent. I mean, we talked about this on the show. Some of you are trying to figure out what to invest in, and risk-adjusted return is important. You're like, hey, I really don't want to go swing for the fences. I need consistency. I need to know what the consistency is. Then, you have an opportunity if you're an accredited investor where you can actually invest directly with us, right? We have actually built out a fund where we're acquiring different businesses in our niche. And within that space, if you go to, if you send an email to info@wealthwithoutwallstreet.com and put accredited in the subject line, then our team will connect you with the details where we actually have a monthly consistent return. So the risk adjusted rate of return of that is super high, right? Very low risk, very good return for the risk that you're taking. So Joey, when I see that, that's one of those, I'm like, yeah, it's working. But at the other end, it has it's a lot of risk for the return created for it.
That's right. Now, one thing, just a quick update for people. I know if you've been following for any length of time our podcast, I rented out an RV, and it has been not a good performer. And that's because I did not want to manage it myself. Now, there's some of you that may have an RV that you want to manage yourself, and you keep all the profit from managing it. Now, if you account for your time, you're probably going to end up being about the same as I did. But with the time, the management costs, and the massive amount of maintenance costs in repairs, it has been a very bad performer. So in this case, I took it off the line of rentals in the last year, and I've been looking to sell it. Hopefully, hold your breath. I hope that I have an update for you in January report that it has been sold. So please pray for me on that. And then the second thing from just an update is that I have expanded the Turo fleet. So there's a couple of Turo cars that are going to be hopefully hitting the books in January that you'll see. And so that's exciting. That last update is I've got the condo, the one that was the original long-term rental that turned into our original first short-term rental. If you're familiar with that, is on the market today. And I'm going to share with you a little bit more about how we're going to hopefully turn that into a further passive income, but hold tight for those updates into the month of January or February, depending on when it sells.
All right. Well, I love that we've been sharing this, but I want to get down to Stallion. Let's talk about what each one of them has done on the terms of an annualized rate of return, right? Like to me, this is what it gets me excited. So I'm going to highlight this, make it a little bit larger if possible. I'm going to start. You talked about the land business, right? So if you're not watching as live, we've invested since going back to 2020 exactly $450,000 in this land flipping enterprise. It has produced cash flow each and every year, both from note income, also from sales. To date, we've brought in income on that $450,000 that we've put in, $891,778. That's how much income we've brought in. Now, we've also been reinvesting that income because we don't need it right now. It's allowed us to constantly be reinvesting. So that $891,000 is actually worth over $2 million in enterprise value.
Right.
But 891 is how much we've brought in income. So if you're keeping score at home, that's about a 22.5% annualized rate of return. Not too bad, right? Pretty good. We compare that, Stallion, to the other investment we did, our short-term rental business. And I think this is fun because I remember, Joey, you and I standing in the lobby in San Antonio, Texas, talking to Mark Podolsky about the land flipping model and how excited we were about doing the land flipping stuff. And he said, it's better than the other opportunity out there. And we were like, well, I mean, I don't know. We just started, or we're considering starting this short-term rental business. He goes, oh, don't do that. It's a big waste of money, big waste of time. The land flipping business will smoke it. Well, he was right. The land flipping business has been a better rate of return, but not by too bad. You want to share those numbers?
So all in, we invested a total of $364,500. And that was across investing in furniture primarily, upfront costs of like leases and things of that nature, because we largely did the arbitrage model, as you know. And over the course of the last 4 years, so from 2020 to 2024, And this is even counting the sale of that business in 2023. And the amount we've received in owner financing since then is a total of $459,992. So almost $460,000. If you do the math on that over that same time frame, it annualizes out at about 16.44% rate of return.
There was nothing worse than walking into class when you're in school and the teacher saying, "Pop quiz day." Why? Because you were unprepared. Are you unprepared, though, for financial freedom?
Don't be. Find out how close you are by taking our 30-second quiz at wealthwithoutwallstreet.com/quiz.
Tribe, if you're still searching for what is going to be that passive income source that's going to push you over the hump, it's going to help you become financially free, head over to the Art of Passive Income podcast, where our friend Mark Podolsky breaks down his amazing land flipping method.
You've heard us talk about how this one strategy has created over $30,000 a month in passive income for Russ and I. Do yourself a favor, wherever you listen to podcasts, go hit the subscribe button to the Art of Passive Income podcast today.
I want to address this for those shopping at home here. Joey said that includes the sale of the business. A lot of times when we sell things, the money's gone, right? We get a big lump sum and it's gone.
Yeah.
In this situation, we're interested not in cash, but in cash flow. So what we did with this business is, instead of continuing to own it and getting an income stream from what it produced every month, right? Sometimes good, sometimes not so good. We actually sold it for a consistent stream of income. And we will continue to receive that stream of income for another 18 months in the future. So we have like another $186,000, I think is the number, to receive over the next 18 months on this actual investment. So as you see that return, you'll see you guys continuing to report on it because we are bringing in note income. So again, our outlay was 364. So far, we've brought in 459, but we have another 186 to put on the board over time.
And let me point something out about what you just said there, Russ, because this is a skill and this is a mindset that I think will change the way that you build wealth. If you consistently think about becoming the bank in all aspects of your life, now you have to do it very thoughtfully. Okay. For instance, we turn in terms of this land business, is turning into note income. You buy an asset and you turn it into an income. In this case, we took the short-term rental business and we turned that asset into an income. Well, you can see that my RV was not making money. And I had the thought, well, what if I could take that asset, or in this case, it's depreciating, it's got maintenance issues, all this stuff. What if I could turn it into a cash flow? And I thought, maybe I'll owner finance it. I could probably sell it for more and I could get that cash flow to come back into the game. But the problem is I would never do that, because if that person ever defaulted, think about the collateral. If that person that I sold it to ever defaulted, I would have to somehow find out where it was located and go and get it back. Things that I'm not prepared or capable of doing. Maybe Russ is, because, back in the day when he was in enterprise, he would go and like chase down cars. I'm not in the position to do that with 5 kids and all the things. So I'm just saying, you have to be thoughtful about becoming the bank. But man, if you think about each thing that you have turning into a cash flow, that's a game changer mindset. So I just want to point that out. Keep going.
Yeah. Well, that's like what Ruby Sue said. I love your house. I don't have to put on a jacket to go to the bathroom, and it's always parked in the same place. Right. Like, so
Ruby.
In your situation, right? Like if you're owner financing a car or an RV, a tenement on wheels, that baby may not be there where you thought it was.
Well, by the way, as we're talking about this, I just want to do a quick update. I put $10,000 down on that RV, and over the course of the 4 year, or excuse me, I guess it's a little over 3 years, that thing has lost $6,282. With all the income that I've received for rentals, it has lost that much more. And so it's a negative 60% return.
All right. So, Tribe, this is one of those moments of, when someone does something that you told them not to, and you always question whether or not you should say, I told you so. This is a 100% I told you so moment to Joey.
Yes, it is.
Don't buy that thing. Just rent it. It's going to be expensive though. Don't worry about it. It will not, it'll be nice to just get rid of it. No, man, I'm going to turn this thing to a cash flow. This is going to be a fun conversation on the podcast. And it has been fun for me to make fun of him every single time we have to report this negative number. So if you're considering buying an RV, don't. I'm just going to tell you, like, I have so many friends that have RVs, and almost to a person, they all say, man, they're a lot of fun. Sometimes, most of the time, they suck. Like, they really do. They constantly break. Something breaks. And unless you're super handy, a buddy of mine was telling me about like how he just like changes brakes on his. He's put in a radiator one time. He had to like fix the transmission on a trip. He had to be hauled here on his. I'm like, that's not me. I could not do that. So if you're considering buying an RV, do not do that. Like, stop. Like, this is one of those few things I'll say, don't do that. You know, another thing I'd say, don't do a Bitcoin mining fund. We've put in $175,000 into this investment. And as far as the Bitcoin that it's kicked off, right? We're getting paid in Bitcoin. The Bitcoin cash flow to us has been a little over $10,000. Now, it has that 10,000 has appreciated. I think it's worth like 25,000, but still it's a fraction of what the 175,000 that we invested in it. You know, another thing don't invest in Ponzi schemes or potential Ponzi schemes or partial Ponzi
might
schemes.
recommend. Yes.
Those don't end well either, right? Like, there's an investment on here that will remain nameless. It is not good. We got a decent part of the money back that we invested in it, but there's a good chance we're not going to get anything more out of it. And so we'll be negative on that one. But looking at some of these other things, Joey, so people are like, hey, long-term rentals seems to be good. Well, you've had a long-term rental and you put in like $15,000 to renovate it, and it's been producing like $200 a month to you every single month. So that's not been too bad. It's not been great, but it's not been too bad.
Yeah. So you count from 2020. Of course, I've owned this for a long time, but just from 2020 to the present day, that's about $12,000 of cash flow. And it's a little over almost 12.5% rate of return over that same time.
Yeah. And when you sell it, right? So the renter have been paying down your mortgage, right? You're going to have a big lump sum of money that will come in, right? That's the beauty of what you're into long-term rentals. If you haven't already figured out your investor DNA, one of the things we do is we walk through this concept called the passive income matrix. And there's lots of different asset classes that we've invested in. One of them is long-term rentals. It shows up on there and you see, hey, how does this fit with my investor DNA? Reason Joey doesn't like it because his investor DNA says, hey, this is a little bit too boring for me. It's a little slower than I want. I'm looking for a little more excitement, a little more opportunity. And really, long-term rentals doesn't provide that, does it, Stallion?
Well, no, but I'll tell you, hold the phone, because we're going to do a deep dive on the sale of this condo when we get around to that. And I want to make sure you're tuned in, because there's going to be a lot of really cool lessons. As Russ and I broke down the math on this, it's amazing once you start thinking about becoming the bank. So keep rolling. We got to keep. Oh, wait, are you about to get down to? You go ahead. Sorry.
Well, no, I want you to talk a little bit about the other one that's kind of unique on here, which is this content website. For those who don't even know what that is, tell them.
All right. So first and foremost, we always learn from people who know what they're doing, right? In this case, Sophie Howard, she taught about how to go and buy content websites that have affiliates. They have ads. They have other forms of income that come to them that are, and this is just like what you said earlier, buying a business that's already producing cash flow.
So a content website, do you guys sell stuff? What do you do?
This is like blogs. Think about, you want information about a subject, you Google it, it pops up these sites. Well, people make money from affiliates on those content sites. In this case, we bought a site called earthlygo.com. Feel free to go check it out. It has a lot about supplements and natural health. And we learned again about this. If you go to wealth.wallstreet.com/freedom navigator, it teaches you exactly what to look for, how to quantify the value of each of these sites. There's a million different places you can find them for sale, and then how to set them up, like to increase the value of them. And so over the course of this year, we bought one for $16,000, and it has produced a total of $9,549 after expenses, which comes out to be almost a 60% ROI. That's just since February. So I'm really excited about this because this is something that really kind of runs on its own. We have had people along the way help us. Like there are people that can help you build the website out, add content to it. You have people that are really good at, helping you scale up the ad side of things, which is something we're going to try here soon. And there's all sorts of people that already have those skills. You don't have to have those skills as long as you know the right places to go find those people. And it's just a matter of allowing the algorithm to essentially drive people to your content.
So, I mean, the fact that you put in $16K and you've produced $9,500 in this first year, that's a pretty good ROI.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. In fact, I'm still actively looking for other ones to add to the portfolio.
Yeah, this one makes up for a lot of, boo-boos that we've made, like vanilla ice. Another thing of be cautious when you go out and you want to get into the vending business. Like, I think vending is an opportunity. We'll talk about vending in January. We have a new vending machine up and running. But one of the vending things we did was an ice machine, and that thing's been a real turd. I mean, it has not been good. Like, it is not good. The vending, shocker, in the month of December, we didn't have a lot of income. But as a whole, we've lost over $4,000 on the 33,000 we've put in on it. So I'm not a big fan. Now, if you own a grocery store, gas station, you got a really good place to put it, I think there's probably opportunity. But unless you have the best place to put it, location, right? This has not been one that I would recommend going into. We invested in several other syndications last year in the mobile home space and the multifamily space. And, those are kicking out about a 6% dividend. And obviously the goal is that they appreciate, we get a lot more return on the back end, kind of what I was saying before, right? Like we're making these risk adjusted return preferences. Some people are like, hey, I want to go all in. I do, oil and gas. I do, speculative crypto stuff. Some people are like, hey, I'd rather, get a little bit on the front end, get maybe an opportunity for a big on the back end. So I kind of hedge my bets. Or I'd rather invest something in like a private loan, something like what we were talking about a second ago on our own fund that just pays out consistent income. And there's no, real surprises. It's, what you're going to get. It keeps happening until you want your money back kind of thing. So this is our report for the month of December, where we show every single income that we've had for each one of these years. And at the same time, what has all of these things produced? So Stallion, I need to total this up. I didn't do that. Let me do a quick total here.
Man, he's
interested.
This on the spot. This is impressive, guys.
So it's kicked off in income $1,538,290.50, right?
Wow.
And looks like over the same period of time, if I can get my my thing to work with me here, let's see how much money we've invested over the same period of time. So 1.7. So we invested 1.7. We've got like 1.5 back out in cash flow. Plus we have several $1 million in assets on top of that. So currently we're winning. There's a lot of things we're losing in. We got a lot of investments that haven't worked out so well. But thankfully, the way that you become better as an investor is you get more reps. And if you've never invested, that's the first step you have to do. You have to take action, right? You have to invest in yourself, invest in your knowledge base so that then you can become a better investor. If you want to learn how to become an investor and becoming a better investor and to surround yourself with other people on the same journey, go to what'swatwallstreet.com/free call. Our coaches can help you understand what is the right next thing for you. Where do you stand? Do you need to implement the passive income operating system in your life, or do you already have it? Do you need to understand who you are as an investor and build out your own investor buy box based upon that? Do you need to be in a community of people who are reaching to levels that may far exceed what you've even considered? And being in that room is what's going to help level you up and get you closer to what you want. No matter what one of those phases you're in, you reach out to one of our coaches. They'll help you understand what's some free tools that you can do, but also what are some ways that you can engage within our business so we can help you in 2025 reach your goals. Stagan, appreciate you, man. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Hope you had an amazing day.
This has been the Wealth Without Wall Street podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to the show to break free of the Wall Street mindset and begin building wealth on your own terms in places you understand so that your wealth will never run dry. See you next episode.